right, so get this. Today we're diving into something that's going to kind of like mess with your head.
Oh, fun. I love a good head scratcher.
Yeah, so we're talking about advice from your future self. Like imagine sitting down with a you who's already lived through all the stuff you're dealing with right now.
I mean, think of the mistakes you could avoid.
Right. Like that time I dyed my hair green in college.
Mm-hmm.
Future me would have definitely stepped in and been like, nope, don't do it.
Yeah, but seriously, this idea, like, gets really deep really fast.
Exactly. And we've got some interesting perspectives on this.
Lay it on me.
So we found this YouTube financial advisor. His name is Smart Money Bro.
Wait, Smart Money Bro.
Yeah, gotta love the name, right?
Okay, I'm intrigued already.
So he's basically dropping all this wisdom on his younger self.
Yeah.
And then we've got another source that breaks down the pros and cons of knowing the future. Like, what would it actually mean for your money, your relationships, your health, like everything?
Okay, yeah, so are we, like, trying to figure out if advice from our future selves would be a gift or a curse?
Pretty much. Let's start with Smart Money Bro. He's got 14 tips. But the ones that really jumped out at me were about stuff not mattering.
Wait, really? From a financial advisor?
I know, right? It's kind of counterintuitive. And he also talks about forgiving your parents, like ASAP.
Those are some interesting picks, for sure. So the whole stuff doesn't matter thing. I mean, we live in such a consumerist culture. You'd think a financial advisor would be all about investing in, like, the latest gadgets or whatever.
Right.
But it sounds like he's more about, you know, building wealth quietly and focusing on what really matters long term.
Yeah, totally. I feel like he's hitting on something really important there. And then the forgiveness piece, I don't know, that one kind of hit me hard.
Yeah.
It's like holding on to anger and resentment. It can really weigh you down, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It affects your mental and emotional well-being. And actually, there's a ton of research on how unresolved emotional issues can impact financial decisions, too.
Wait, really?
Yeah, if you're carrying around a lot of anger or fear, it might make you more impulsive, like less likely to plan for the future.
So basically, forgive your parents and your bank account will thank you.
Well, it's not quite that simple. But there's definitely a connection there. I think Smart Money Bro might be oversimplifying things a bit, but the underlying message is valid.
Okay, so we've got stuff doesn't matter. We've got forgive your parents. But then he drops this line. You are as young as you'll ever be today.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. Talk about motivation.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? It's a good reminder that we can't keep putting things off, especially with finances. Like, the sooner you start investing, saving, making those smart choices, the more time your money has to grow.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into compound interest and all that, which, by the way, we will definitely unpack later, I got to ask, does any of Smart Money Bro's advice actually hold up? Or is it just like a bunch of motivational hype?
I think there's some solid wisdom mixed in there for sure. He's big on personal responsibility, taking control of your finances, like not relying on luck or handouts. Those are pretty fundamental principles, right?
True, yeah. But we're only getting one side of the story here. Our second source goes into the downsides of future knowledge. And honestly, it's a bit of a buzzkill.
The duality of it all, I find that so fascinating. Like, we crave insight into what's to come, but what if that knowledge brings more anxiety than peace?
Right.
And what if it robs us of the joy of discovery?
Yeah.
You know, the thrill of the unknown.
Okay, you're kind of freaking me out now, but I see your point. This source breaks it down by scenario. Money, relationships, health, career. It's like, on the one hand, wouldn't it be amazing to know if you're going to be rich?
Oh, for sure.
But on the other hand, what if knowing about like a financial crash made you too scared to invest at all?
Exactly. They actually used the 2008 financial crisis as an example.
Oh, wow.
Like, imagine knowing beforehand that the market was going to tank. You could protect yourself, but the stress of that knowledge, could you even handle it?
Ooh, that's a really good point. And what about health? Like, would you spend your whole life stressing about something that might never even happen? Or would you become like a total health nut, obsessing over every little thing you eat and do?
Right. It's a tricky balance for sure. Knowledge is power, but sometimes ignorance really is bliss.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
This source actually argues that experiencing setbacks and challenges is good for us. Like, it builds resilience. It helps us learn and adapt. Knowing everything in advance might create this false sense of security, you know? And then we'd be robbed of those valuable learning experiences.
Okay, I'm starting to see the downsides here. Yeah, knowing the future would be cool, but maybe a little mystery and uncertainty keep things Like, interesting.
Absolutely. Life is full of twists and turns. And it's those unexpected moments, the challenges we overcome, that really shape who we are.
So if we knew everything in advance, wouldn't life just be, like, predictable?
And maybe even a little boring, yeah.
You're totally changing my mind about all this.
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering now, could I even resist trying to change things if I knew it was coming?
And it leads us to the big one, right? Do we actually have free will if we know the future? Or are we just playing out like a predetermined script?
Whoa! Now you're getting all existential on me. I think I need a break after this. Just to, like, process it all.
Well, maybe a mental break is a good place to pause for now. But it is important to acknowledge this philosophical layer. Does knowing the future actually dictate our actions? Or do we still have the power to choose differently? It's a question with no easy answers.
Yeah, seriously. I'm feeling a little mind blown right now. This whole deep dive has made me realize that maybe the best advice isn't actually from our future selves, but from the experiences we're having, right now.
I love that. It's about being present, paying attention to what life is teaching us in this moment. Yeah, we can't control the future, but we can control how we respond to the present.
You're so right. Okay, deep breaths, everyone. We're going to take a quick break and then come back to tackle the juicy relationship stuff. And maybe we'll even try to answer that big free will question. Don't go anywhere. I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. All right, so we've sufficiently fried our brains, like the existential question. For now, let's
a little lighter.
Bring it back down to earth and talk about something a little more relatable.
Right.
Relationships.
This is what I've been waiting for. I mean, who hasn't daydreamed about, like, asking their future self?
Oh, yeah.
If they end up with their crush right now.
I think we've all been there.
Totally.
But our source raises a really intriguing point about how knowing the outcome of a relationship could actually, like, change how we approach it.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Think about it this way. Let's say your future self tells you that your current relationship is doomed. Would you even bother putting in the effort?
Well,
would you hold back emotionally, always, like, waiting for that inevitable breakup?
Ugh, that's depressing.
Right.
I mean, heartbreak is never fun.
Yeah.
But isn't part of love, like, taking that leap of faith, being vulnerable, even if there's a chance?
Yeah.
Things might not work out.
That's the dilemma, isn't it? Future knowledge might seem like a shortcut to happiness.
Yeah.
But it could actually rob us of the experiences that make love so powerful. The excitement of the unknown, the growth that comes from navigating challenges together, the bittersweet beauty of it all.
Okay, I'm getting a little misty-eyed over here.
Right.
You're making me rethink my whole stance
Yeah.
on this future self-advice. Maybe some things are better left a mystery, especially when it comes to matters of the heart.
Exactly. And this applies to other areas of life, too.
Yeah.
Our source talks about the importance of setbacks and failures in shaping our careers and even our time management skills.
Right.
Imagine if you never had to struggle, never had to learn from your mistakes. Would you really appreciate your successes as much?
That's a good point. I mean, I'm all for avoiding unnecessary pain, but maybe a little bit of struggle is what helps us grow and become more resilient.
Right. It's like that saying, smooth seas don't make skilled sailors.
Oh, I like that.
We need those rough waters to learn how to navigate to become stronger and more adaptable.
Okay, so we've established that future knowledge isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
No.
But let's go back to Smart Money Bro for a minute. He had some pretty strong opinions about seizing the day.
Oh, yes.
And not waiting for the perfect moment. Remember his whole fourth quarter intensity analogy?
Oh, yes. He was basically saying, don't wait until the last minute to get serious about your life and your finances. It's a powerful message, even if it's a little over the top.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from, but honestly, sometimes it feels like there's so many things to focus on. Money, relationships, health, career, like, it can be overwhelming. Where do you even begin?
I think the key is to break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay.
It's about setting realistic goals, finding a balance that works for you, and not trying to do everything at once.
So it's more like a marathon than a sprint.
Exactly. It's about pacing yourself, celebrating small wins along the way, and remembering that it's a journey, not a destination.
And speaking of journeys, remember that travel and drink review channel we talked about earlier?
Mickytolife, of course.
They're all about embracing adventure and finding joy in the everyday. Maybe that's a good takeaway from all of this.
Yeah.
Focus on living fully in the present moment, even while we're pondering the mysteries of the future.
I love that. It's like, yeah, planning and goal setting are important, but so is savoring the moment and enjoying the ride. And who knows, maybe by focusing on making the most of our present, we're actually setting ourselves up for a brighter future, even without any insider knowledge.
You're blowing my mind again. I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
It's been a whirlwind of a discussion.
We've talked about the benefits and pitfalls of future knowledge, the importance of personal growth and resilience, and the delicate balance between planning for the future and embracing the present moment.
Yeah, it has been a lot.
What stands out to you the most?
Honestly, what's sticking with me is that idea of embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in wanting to control everything.
Right.
But maybe letting go a little and allowing ourselves to be surprised is part of what makes life so fascinating. Finding that sweet spot between intentionality and surrender. We can set goals, make plans, and work towards the future we desire.
Yeah.
But we also have to be open to the unexpected detours and plot twists.
I'm feeling a lot more at peace with this whole future self-advice thing now. It's less about getting a cheat sheet to life and more about appreciating the journey with all of its ups and downs.
I couldn't put it better myself. And remember, even without advice from our future selves, we have something incredibly valuable at our disposal. Our own intuition and the wisdom we gain from our experiences.
So true. We might not have a crystal ball, but we have the power to make choices, learn from our mistakes, and create a future that aligns with our values and aspirations.
Exactly. And sometimes that's more than enough.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, I have one last question for you and for our listeners out there.
Okay.
If you could send one piece of advice back to your younger self, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think I would tell my younger self to worry less about what other people think and to be more courageous in pursuing my passions. What about you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would tell my younger self to embrace failure as a learning opportunity and not be afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
And most importantly,
to
invest in some good quality hair dye.
Yeah, that's advice worth taking.
It's all about learning from those colorful mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think this conversation has been incredibly insightful. It's made me realize that maybe the best advice we can get is the advice we give ourselves based on the experiences we're having right now.
I completely agree. It's about trusting our own inner compass, being present in the moment, and embracing the journey with all its unexpected twists and turns. And of course, learning from those questionable hair dye choices along the way.
Absolutely. Well, folks, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of advice from our future selves.
It has been a journey.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
But hopefully we've left you with some food for thought and maybe even a little bit of inspiration.
It's been a pleasure exploring these complex and thought-provoking ideas with you all.
Cheers to that.
Cheers indeed. To embracing the journey to lifelong learning and to finding moments of joy and delight in every day.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Until next time, keep those minds curious, those hearts open, and those adventures rolling.
Farewell, everyone, and may your future be filled with purpose, joy, and countless unforgettable experiences.